Shalom Evracha, welcome to the weekly Shiur in the Heilige Sefer Zera Shimshon. It's Shiva Asa B'Tamuz, Thursday, Parsha Pinchas Tavshim Pei Vav. The Yoir Shomesh writes this week, Amru Kedoshei Elyon. Great tzaddikim said that the Shabbosos of Yemei Bein Hamtzorim are on a higher level than the Shabbosos the rest of the year. And the explanation is, since the Yemei Bein Hamtzorim are days of Katnus, are days of Midas Hadin, therefore when Shabbos comes and Shabbos turns around the Din into Rachmim, so to the extent of how much Din existed in the weekday, to that extent we get Rachmim on Shabbos. And since Yemei Bein Hamtzorim or Yemei Din, the Shabbosos are way higher and way greater, and a person can be zoicha in the Shabbosos of Yemei Bein Hamtzorim of the 3 weeks, the things that he can't be zoicha the rest of the year. And then he continues. The first Parsha that we read, B'derech Klal, in Yemei Bein Hamtzorim, is Parsha's Pinchas. This is not a coincidence, of course. And the understanding is, in Parsha's Pinchas, we have the Parsha of the Karbonos. Many Karbonos are written in Parsha's Pinchas, perhaps more than any other Parsha in the whole Torah. Chazal tell us, when the Eibusha told Avraham Avinu, Kach lecha egel mishvulash, in Parsha's Lech Lecha, Avraham Avinu was afraid, how are Klal Yisrael going to be able to exist throughout the Doiros? And the Eibusha said, there's a concept called Karbonos. Karbonos are the secret of our survival. That Avraham Avinu asked Hashem Yisbarach, that's only good when we have a Beis Hamikdash. When we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, how are we going to survive? And the Eibusha said there's a concept called Uneshalma Parim Safasenu. We will bring these Karbonos with our lips, meaning when we learn about the Karbonos and we read the Parshas HaKarbonos, it's Ke'ilu, it's as if we are actually bringing those Karbonos. And Klal Yisrael will be purified and elevated from the fact that they read Parsha HaKarbonos. Right? So Yoir Shomesh, we do this every day. We say Parshas Oyla, and we say the Yirotzain, but that's not the ultimate. It's not in a Sefer Torah. It's not with the Trop, with the Negina, and it's not saying the Karbonos the best way possible. Comes Parshas Pinchas, the first week of Yemei Bein Hamtzorim. We are Mekayim Mitzvahs Kriyas HaTorah, and we hear the Balkoira read the Parshas HaKarbonos from a Heilige Sefer Torah with Aliyahs, and this brings us the Zechus of Ki'ilu Hikriv. It's as if we brought those Karbonos and we are Zoicha to the Shefer and the Bracha that Karbonos bring to us. In light of this, B'siyata D'Shmaya, let's learn a piece in the Heilige Sefer Zera Shimshon Ois Dalet, which will give us an inspiration what we can be zeicha to this Shabbos when we hear Kriyas HaTorah of Parshas Pinchas. Amongst the many Karbonos mentioned in Parshas Pinchas are the Karbonos of Rosh Hashanah. Says the Heilige Zera Shimshon Medrash ala pasuk Yoim Teruah Yelachem, Kapitel Chavtes. It says, on the day of Rosh Hashanah, Va'asisem Seir Izim. You should make a carbon. Amr of Tachlifa, I have a diuk. But Chol Misafim, every time in any other time that it's mentioned, the mitzvah to bring a carbon musaf, the pasuk says that with the word ve'kravtem. Ve'kan kasiv va'asisem isher. Here it says va'asisem, not ve'kravtem. What's the understanding that over here by the Yontif of Rosh Hashanah, it says va'asisem. HaKetzad, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, Bonai, Ani Mala Lechem, in the zechus of you keeping Rosh Hashanah, Ani Mala Lechem Ki'ilu Nasisem Lefanai. It's as if you were created new. Ki'ilu Hayoim Barasi Eschem Bria Chadasha, as if you were born today. And that's the Maila, and that's the Skula of the Yontif Rosh Hashanah, that we can be zoicha to be born again. Pray the Heilige Zera Shimshon. allow me to understand. Yesh l'daktik. Ma zeh te'eles shemayim nasu. They were created today. What I gain from that? If I have a kapara, I have a kapara. Every musaf comes lachaper. So if every musaf comes lachaper, so that's enough. Why? What I have added by the fact that I'm a sisem? What's the gain? Says the Zera Shimshon, Yesh Loima. She'eninu kach. This is the gain. She'tshuva be'emes hi mechaperes. A person chas v'shalom does navera, he does tshuva. Tshuva is mechaper, absolutely. Aval adayin, we're not finished yet. Sarich lemarig hano'as hachet. The pleasure that the person derived from doing the avera is still in his system. It's there. And that has to be cleansed out. Yisurim, chas v'shalom, come to a person and they erase and they eradicate that hana, that satisfaction. Sometimes the Eibishter, with infinite mercy, just washes it away. That hana that's in the body as a result of the chet. We daven Yom Kippur, we say, erase, rub out our averas, not through Yisurim, which means we have two options. We do tshuva to get a kapara, but after that, there is the hana of the chet that's embedded within the person, and that has to be cleansed, that has to be taken away. So either done through Yisurim or Achmech Harabim. Uma'atel says in Zera Shimshon something very scary. Im tzadik echad yechta, a tzadik sins, bevada yasa tshuva, take it from yad. Tshuva is done instantly. As the Gemara says, if you see a Talmid Chacham do Aver b'night, don't think the next morning that he hasn't done tshuva. For sure he does tshuva. But nevertheless, he's not finished. Hadina inoisen shtiat tshuva v'keberes lagamri. We would think that the tshuva shin is kamer lagamri, v'lo yitzarech klal yisurim. You shouldn't need Yisurim. Lehepach, if you have Choyte Echad Hirbeleb Shaya, you have a Rasha that does Averas in an extreme way, that is Shabbat Tshuva, Shazoy Tshuva, like Chabla Gamri. We would say, this Tshuva can't be accepted. You have to go through the cleansing. On Iroyim, Sha'olam Einem Mistag al Bisei Dazeh. No, it's not the way it works. It's not the way we think. Yesh Koyne Lomem Sha'achas. There's a concept of a person that's a Rasha his entire life. He can be koine lama b'sha'achas, and everything is cleansed. V'yesh tzadikim shenedoini b'yisurim rabim. It's above us, says the Zera Shimshon, to understand why the tzaddik gets the yisurim to cleanse the hana of the avera, and the Rasha doesn't. These are things that they capture the rachmana. But there are certain skulas to get rid of the yisurim. V'chein aminam b'yishalmi b'kurim chacham Chasn, Nasi, Gedilasa Mechaberes. A chassan gets married, or a person gets a position, then the fact that he got that position is Mechaper. Frag the Zera Shimshon, I don't get it. For Kasha, Dimai below tshuva, if he didn't do tshuva, this chassan, then nothing happens. If he did tshuva, so why do you have to have the gedula, the position, the chasna, to give him a kapara? Says the Heilige Zera Shimshon, and about it tzarich loima, sha'tshuva mechaperes. Of course, tshuva is mechaper, but we'll talk about something else. Avat einay maseres achet legamri. There's still the hana. There still needs mirror cleansing. Eloim tzarich yisurim. Umishazoicha la'alif legdula a chasn moichel lekalav anoisav. Like the Heilige Zera Shimshon means that he gets rid of the yisurim too. Nitzah ben yisurim ben eskapet gamri. Ve'heina miruk shanas ha'idei rachmim gedolim. Mardik. In brackets, we will say not everybody agrees to this, that a chasna b'yom chipasai has to do tshuva in order to get a kapara. There are makairos that prove from the source that we know that a chassan gets a kapara on the day of the chuppah, which is from machlas Esav, that you see that they were big Rishoyim and they got a kapara on the day of the chasna. And that's the Mekoy. Rashi brings it, I think, on Torah, that Esau married Machlas and he got a Mechilas Havoinus. There was no tshuva going on over there, and that's a proof that without tshuva, a chassan can get a kapara, but the Zera Shimshon is not going to that. the Zera Shimshon going with the Shitta, they need tshuva, and the Chassan Moichel Kavanoisa will mean that he's cleansed from the Yisurim. Zog the Zera Shimshon. If this is the case, we can understand the Medrash. B'chala misafim, every time we bring a carbon musaf, achatos, and we do tshuva, kseve kravtem. He kravtem means she'achoyte miskarev atzvele kedusha. The sinner gets close to the Eibishter at a carbon, and that will erase the Avera. A carbon moilo la kaparosai, or la kriva la kedusha. He can get close to Hashem. Aval Abdayan is not finished. Tzarech lemarik hanoas achet. There's still left the Avera that gave him pleasure, that became part of his body, has to be taken away. Ule sakit mal kamashapogam, and maybe he still needs Yisurim. Chas v'shalom. Here comes the skula of the carbon of Rosh Hashanah. Kan ksiv asisem ki'ilu hayoim asisem atzvachem lefanai. It's like you were recreated. What does that help? That helps that now this new body that you get doesn't have that hana that your previous body had from that Avera, because now Hashem recreates you. The Haine Kamagesh and Iskaya Kikatan Shanoida Dami, but even Shaveras Hakoidmus, Loitis Karena Oid. The previous Averas are non-existent. The previous Averas are not relevant. They have gone and vanished because the person now is created new. That's shot in this Medrash. Azoyle the Heilige Zera Shimshon Zechus Yagen Aleinu. So it comes out this Shabbos Kodesh when we read these carbonos, and we have a klal called Oisek Ila Hikriv. So we're going to be Oisek in the Parsha of carbonos of Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, and we learn the piece of Zera Shimshon to that end. It'll be Ki'ilu Hikriv. It's like we brought those carbonos, and this will be Machaper, not only the Avera, but it'll take away all the reason for there should be Yisurim in the world, and we'll only know of Chesed Hashem, and we'll only know about Midas Hatava, and we'll be Zoicha to Rachmanas from the Eibishter, Le'vasha, B'dva, Yeshua, V'rachmem, Yibana, Beis Hamikdash, B'meher, B'meinu, Zechusa, Agadol, Yagen, Aleinu, Agud Shabbos.